Welcome back to the channel, Warhammer Man back in the studio, and today we're taking a look at the skirmish game reveals for Friday's Warhammer Fest. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, and warcry content, as well as pretty much anything to do Games Workshop. So, revealed, 2 new kill teams, break concealment at Warhammer Fest. So, the new kill team is called MOROCH. A new kill team box set is coming. Take us a new war zone and introducing more special operatives and kill zone rules. Get ready to go behind enemy lines in MOROCH. So let's go ahead and take a look at this real quick. If you haven't watched this already, you can find it on the Warhammer community website or YouTube. So basically just saying us Traitor Guard has been sighted. Renegade regiments claim the blessings. So these are some awesome models. We see some old Traitor Guard and some new Traitor Guard coming back here. And then we see them facing off against Phobos Marines. Very nice looking models here. Great sculpts. There's one we recognize, an ogre coming to kill team. And then here we see obviously a bunch of new stuff here for Space Marines. May recognize a little remnants of something. And then of course on Rift's Edge they're facing off. And as predicted, as wishfully thought, we're getting the terrain that I wanted and hoped and expected for this set as well. So as if that wasn't already enough, let's keep scrolling down and take a look with a little more detail at what is in this set. So following the Kill Team Chalnath and Kill Team Nakmund, this is the next quarterly box set for the skirmish combat game based on the 41st millennia. As with the previous sets, Kill Team MOROCH is packed with miniatures, terrain, and more. So here we see the box. Pretty cool, obviously Space Marine box art. The box contains 2 teams of special operatives, starting with a brand new blooded kill team. These Militarum Traitoris have left the Astra Militarum behind to worship the Chaos Gods. So we have previously seen some Traitor Guard before, obviously in Blackstone Fortress, and there was 7 unique sculpts, 14 total models that came in that kit, and these are very, very close to those models, but different. And then there was an expansion for Blackstone Fortress later, which saw a Traitor Guard Commisar and his Ogryn bodyguard. So those are the models we've already seen, and then now we have 10 new Traitor Guard models, different from what we saw in Blackstone Fortress, but very, very similar in looks as well. So you'll recognize there was a guy like this very close in the old Blackstone Fortress game, or in the Blackstone Fortress game, where he's holding out his rifle like that, and then a knife in the other hand as well. Obviously a helmeted head on that model. We see that the Sergeant was very close to this model as well. He has like multiple spikes coming up out of his backpack. Just overall kind of a similar aesthetic, but different models. So these look great. I mean, honestly, they look awesome. There's our first 2 guardsmen. Here is the Commissar. Obviously, no hat. He's got like a Chaos branding, a little Chaos iconography, loaded with the Power Fist and Bolt Pistol. Very cool models. And then obviously, this will be, if I'm not mistaken, this is the biggest model so far in Kill Team. So this Ogryn is massive. He's a big boy. And then obviously, he's got like the big spike piece going through him, a giant like power axe cleaver thing, and then a crazy like crab mutant arm. So very, very cool. So what we've seen of this set, there's going to be 10 models plus these 2, so potential for 12 models, I believe. And then here we see a sniper up top, and then just more of a more traditional Traitor Guardsman. Very nice looking models, very good aesthetic. Here we see a double knife guy. I don't know if this can be compared to the kind of like Vet Guard or whatever, but the one Vet Guard guy is like the Brute. He has a similar type weapon, much smaller, but we would assume that some of these guys are going to be specialists. Obviously this is a bespoke kill team for a faction that didn't already exist. So we had Guard before, sort of mixed in with the Scions and Loyalist, and now we have a Traitor version. And then obviously the upgrade version previously was the Vet Guard, which was basically the Kriegsmen, and then in this case we're getting the Traitor Guard, which is pretty awesome. So here we see a Plasma Gunner, so we know they have some hard-hitting firepower. This guy's got, maybe this is the Sergeant actually, because he has 3 spikes. I'm not sure, honestly, because this looks a little more similar to the backpack of the one from the other kit. But he has like a cleaver and an axe in his other hand. And then we see one pulling the pin on the grenade. We see one with like a riot shield, and it looks like maybe like a shotgun, or Yeah, it looks like a shotgun. Kind of weird angle, so maybe it's more of like a sawed-off shotgun or a shotgun pistol. But very, very cool looking. The shield's like banged up, and then it's been kind of like repaired right there. And then here we are back to the beginning. So how many was it total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 11, 12. Okay, yeah. So, and then obviously he's a Commissar, so he's going to be pretty awesome. And then the Ogryn is going to be pretty tough, obviously. So if you get to take all 12 of these guys, or maybe if you take the Ogre, you only get 10 of them. No, I would imagine you probably get 12. We'll see. It's tough to tell what you're actually going to be able to field versus what comes in the box initially. So the Traitor Enforcer and Traitor Ogryn were first seen in expansion from Blackstone Fortress, while the rest of the Militarum Traitoris miniatures are entirely new. They're designed to fit right in with the Traitor Guardsmen from Warhammer Quest Blackstone Fortress. Hold up a dark mirror to the veteran guardsmen of Krieg. However, those who have fallen in with the Dark Gods prefer getting up close and personal in the name of chaos. Fighting back against the traitors are the covert specialists of the Adeptus Astartes, the Phobos strike team. So with this kit, we're going to get what I would presume is going to be these two in the exact same form as they came in Blackstone Fortress expansion, which was just like its own sprue. And then these 10 guys all on their own sprue as well. Probably maybe 2, depending. And then next we have the Space Marines, so let's take a look at them. So obviously this guy is new. The overall pose is similar. He's like looking at his little device, but the head is obviously new, and then the little backpack piece. I think the pointing arm as well. Here we see more of a traditional infiltrator. And then again, this one obviously has the servo skull, and then he's looking at what looks like an Auspex or something like that. Here we have the Helix, which is like the medic built into the squad right there. Very cool. This is cool too because previously this model is actually pretty good to be able to buy a medic for the squad. He's a little less effective, but he's also a little cheaper and just part of the squad. This model, or a similar version, the Helix, was only available in the easy to build kit. So if you bought the regular Infiltrator box set, like the full box set, you couldn't actually build the Helix, which was definitely a limiting factor with that, as if you wanted to take one, you had to buy the less desirable Marines, you know, the monopose. And then here we see he has some sort of device right here and some sort of device right here. I don't know if that's a bomb or what's going on. This looks like some kind of explosion device or something like that. And then here again we see like more of a traditional infiltrator. And then again we have one reloading, cocking his weapon. He has like a scope on the side there and an extra little something on top. So maybe he's like the spotter for the squad. This one's reaching for the pistol. So we see some remnants of the old squad with some new stuff. So here also the smoke grenade, previously only available in the like monopose plastic kit. You didn't get a smoke grenade set up in, obviously a bunch of guys have grenades, but not one like throwing the smoke grenade. So in this one, he actually is throwing the smoke grenade similar to what came in the monopose kit. So we know now, and then obviously this big old banner and, you know, like the knife hand and stuff. There's obviously some parts of this kit that weren't initially in here. So we know what it comes down to is the Space Marine kit is going to be the Incursor Infiltrator kit, the full 10-man squad. So in that 10-man kit, you can build either Infiltrators like we see here or Incursor models. So that is pretty cool. And then there's also the upgrade sprue, and then the upgrade sprue has a bunch of the little stuff built into it. Like for instance, some of the heads and like the back piece right here, you know, some of these bits right here, the Helix arm and a little like piece on his belt. We see, you know, obviously like bits like this, whatever he is, the bomber, you know, the scope guy, spotter, whatever, you know, the grenade. So those are going to be an upgrade frame for the traditional kit. So we know this comes with 10 Space Marines. We know you're not going to get to use all 10 Space Marines. With Chaos, you know, obviously they only got to use 6 of their 10 from the Legionaries kit. So we would expect something similar for the Space Marines as well. You get to take 6 of these guys, and then you have some pretty cool like specialists, not just generic 6 guys. Infiltrators are pretty good. Incursors are pretty good as well. And then you can also build these as Infiltrators or Incursors. I'm not sure how that's going to translate for like their special equipment. I assume the Bespoke Kill Team is going to be just Infiltrators. So there's going to be like special rules only for the Infiltrators in here. It's possible they do like a crossover where you could build the same stuff on your incursors and then build either infiltrators or incursors and have these like bespoke rules for the kill team. We don't know that for sure, obviously, but we do know it's going to be the 2 sprues for each of the 5-man squads, and then you're going to get 2 sets of those, so 10 total guys, and then 1 upgrade frame that builds all the bonuses. And then we know for this one, you're probably going to have whatever it amounts to, 1 or 2 sprues of these guys that makes a total of 10 of them, and then on top of that, you're going to have your specialists as well. I didn't notice any duplicate parts in any of these guys specifically. It's possible there are, and I just missed it, but it looks like all these guys are individual sculpts. So I'm pretty sure there's 10 individual models like this, possibly with some interchangeable parts, and then probably with interchangeable parts, I should say. And then you'll get these 2 guys, which have basically like no options for them. You know, a Power Fist and a big old Ogryn. But very cool. Definitely liking them. But honestly, the best part is the terrain that comes with it. As I was predicting or hoping for, these Space Marines are based on the Incursor Infiltrator kit with an additional sprue like those of the Chaos Space Marine Legionaries from Kill Team Moon and the Tau Pathfinders from Kill Team Chalnath. These extra bits let you build a range of unique special operatives such as the Saboteur or the Vox Breaker. The Saboteur, so that's probably the guy who has like the explosive like trigger in his hand kind of, and then the Vox Breaker, so somebody that like shuts down communications. The box also includes a battlefield mat. When it says battlefield mat, that is interesting, because previously it's the fold out battle boards. So the term battlefield mat makes me think it's one of like the cheap paper throwaways. Maybe that is a mistake. Maybe that is, see, this doesn't look that thick. I mean, it's tough to tell obviously from this picture, but normally you would see a little edge on this if it was one of the battlefield boards. So I think maybe they're just giving you literally a fold out mat. We'll see better in some other pics down the road. But then we have the landing pad, which is obviously the big piece right here, not including the satellite dish. The STC Hab Bunker and Stockades, which here's a bunker and a bunch of the Stockades. And then the Vox Antenna and Auspex Shrine. Obviously these 2 pieces here for the Battlezone Fronteris terrain range. So this is great because regardless of if this comes in at 200 or 220 or whatever Games Workshop decides to do, we don't even know when it's coming out, let alone what they're going to be pricing stuff by then. We just saw this terrain kit come out and it had these 3 pieces in it, and then it had 2 of these with the barricades and the bunker, and that set alone was $220. So, and it's really nice terrain, it really is, but it was overpriced for sure. So in this set, even if they made this set, for instance, $220, you know, obviously, which would be an increase because the last Kill Team set just came out was like $200. Before that, it was $170, you know, etc. But regardless of that, we know what's going to come in this set, and it's going to be 10 of the new Marines with the upgrade sprue, 10 of the Traitor Guard with the 2 characters, and then on top of that, we get all the terrain from the set, but with 1 less bunker and stockade. So you're basically trading in, and this is an $80 kit by itself, like individually sold by Games Workshop. So you're trading in one $80 kit, and then you're getting in exchange, you know, a $60 kit of Space Marines plus the upgrade sprue, and then presumably, you know, $50 or $60 group of Traitor Guard with the 2 characters as well. So when it's all said and done, this is a great deal in my opinion, because you're getting, and then on top of that, you'll have your book inside of there as well. The new book with all the missions and all the stuff for this, all the bespoke rules. And then on top of that, the play mat or board. If it's a mat, it's worth nothing in my opinion. If it's a fold out board, you know, it's worth something at least. You know, they're selling them for like $25 a piece. So depending on that, obviously, it wouldn't surprise me if they took out the board and went to the mat and then just packed a little extra value in here. But in my opinion, this is a much better value than the box set of the terrain from them, because you don't get the second one of these, which again is valued by them at $80 retail, but you get so many more models and the books, and this is like a fully playable game. And honestly, I think realistically, 2 of these sets of terrain would basically give you an amazing board to play on. Like a larger board. You know, obviously this is Kill Team, so it's played on a smaller board, but just imagine like 2 of these next to each other or something like that. You have a pretty nice game table. And I like the way this comes because we're going to then see this terrain on like the third party market, or people that are like splitting or breaking stuff up, selling this terrain much cheaper than it's offered right now. Because right now it's $70 for this, it's $70 for these two pieces, and it's $80 for all this. So when you figure out what the value of this set is, we can already pretty much tell what it is. Because we have a $60 Space Marine box with, like, say, a $20 upgrade sprue, a $60 Chaos box with, a couple extra characters in it, let's say 50 and 30. So again, we have 80 and 80 is 160, and then we have 70 and 70 is 140, so that's 300, and then we have another $80 right here. So this is basically, and then the book on top of that, let's say $30. I mean, it's $40 is what they've been selling him for. So I mean, that's pretty good deal. What I say, 160 plus 140 is 300, plus 80 is 380, plus 40 for the book is 420, and then again, not sure about the mat, but this is $420 in retail value stuff that Games Workshop would sell. Now, when these Space Marines come out as a kit available on their own later on, I don't know, but I know that the regular kit of Space Marines is $60 right now for the 10 of them. So if they're going to put an upgrade sprue in it, they're not going to still sell it for $60. They're either going to get rid of the old kit, and then this is going to be the new kit, or they're just going to charge an extra $5, $10, $15, $20 for the upgrade sprue. So I'm not sure which they're going to do, but that's what I would presume. And then say for these Chaos guys, they will probably come out later on separately, like when the next Kill Team comes out, and be offered for somewhere between $60 and $80 for that set as well. So, and the reason I say 60 to 80 is we saw the Vet Guard initially come out at 55 separately, and then they went up to 60, and then some of the other kits of the Kill Team models have come out at about 65. But it would make sense if you're going to pay 60 for the regular models, that they would charge you $5, $10, $20 extra for the upgrade sprue, so somewhere around there. But when it's all said and done, even if this comes out, and let's just say it's $210, we just figured out it's $420 in retail value. So this is a great deal. It's a great kit. I really like this terrain, and now that it's going to be readily available, people are much more likely to have it, play on it, and enjoy it. This is really nice setup. I really like this. Traitor Guard is something people have wanted for a long time. The Commisar and the Ogryn model are like extremely rare and pretty cool models in my opinion. I think this is going to give a little extra fun for like those Chaos players out there as well, or like, not Space Marine loyalist players. So definitely excited to see this. The Space Marines needed a bespoke kill team, obviously. They have been struggling, so hopefully this at least brings them in line with like Grey Knights or Death Watch. So now you can kind of play any of the power armor chapters, and they're pretty decent. And then as far as the Chaos Guard goes, or the Traitor Guard goes, okay, depending what they get to take, how many models and everything, will depend how good that team is, obviously. We saw the models that came in the set, and there's really only like one gunner specialist, which is the plasma gun. And then you have a couple more like combat specialists, like the Ogryn, the Commissar with the power fist, the dude with the two-handed weapons. There's a guy with a couple knives. I mean, there's a lot of combat stuff in this unit. So I don't think they'll be as good as Vet Guard probably, because Vet Guard have so much good stuff. I mean, both squads have a sniper. Both squads have a plasma now. So that's about the same. And then after that, you start comparing, well, yeah, they got a Commissar and an Ogryn, and then a couple other specialists. Well, I mean, like Vet Guard have a demo guy that can basically kill anything, a melt-a-gun that can basically kill anything. They have options for a flamethrower. They still have that same sniper. They've got a grenade launcher. They've got a medic. They just have so many amazing models. I just don't see how this team is going to compete with them, even if you get to take all 12. But it doesn't mean they're not going to be a fun and balanced and awesome team. They just made like some kind of like parallels with the Vet Guard team, and I just don't think this team's going to be on the same level. There's two things that make Vet Guard so good. The fact that you can take 14 of them, so you can basically outnumber almost anyone, or at least match anyone. And then also the amount of amazing specialists they have, including a bunch of really good guns. Because there's no other faction that has as many good special weapons they can take. Even if you take like a Scion guard team, it's pretty good, and you can take like 2 plasmas and 2 meltas and some other specialists, but it's still not on the same level, and that's with 12 guys. So even if you had 2 more of them, I think they still wouldn't be as good as Vet Guard, because Vet Guard just has so many specialists. Not to go on a tangent about Vet Guard, but I think comparing, these guys to that guard is probably a stretch at this point. But that being said, I think Kill Team's in a really good place already, and I think this is a big bump to basically bring it even more into line. So very cool. Love this terrain. It's really cool terrain, and I love that this ended up in our next set. That's what we really wanted. That's what we really hoped for. Some more of the new terrain, and this stuff is pretty pricey, so getting it in this set, I think, makes it a great deal as well. So very cool. Definitely excited for this. Again, even if it comes in like $15 higher than the current Kill Team, because each one seems to go up by, somewhere around like $15 to $30. By the time we get this, who knows what prices are going to look like, but I think this is going to be a great set. I will definitely be picking it up. This terrain is absolutely awesome. I mean, it's big, chunky, like heavy set terrain, and it also, one of my favorite things that we see with this terrain all the time is taking the landing pad and stacking one of these bunkers on top of it and making like a giant building that is essentially just a big blind spot on the table. So I think that's something that's kind of been missing in 40K, but I've also seen a lot of, or, in 40K or Kill Team, I should say, I've seen a lot of times where they took, say, like this and put it on top of this, or this and put it on top of this, or build some, like, railings around these pieces. It just looks really nice, comes along nicely, and I think this is going to be a great set, and it's going to also help bring down the price of this terrain right here, which is going to be better because then more people are going to have it, and I really do like this terrain. My only real issue with it was it just came out overpriced in my opinion. So, but yeah, looks great. I mean, loving the Space Marine upgrade stuff. They basically solved the problem here that we already had with the Infiltrators, basically giving you that grenade and the Helix Adept. That is huge. We got the Bespoke Space Marines. We got solved the problem here. These guys were extremely hard to get. Pretty much impossible to get, and this guy is super cool. Definitely could make some awesome conversions, and then the Commissar is pretty cool too. I almost think like doing a conversion where you put the regular Commissar hat back on him would make him even cooler. But very nice looking dudes. If you already had some, some of the Traitor Guard, these will go in really nicely with them. If you didn't, these are just as good as the ones in the Blackstone Fortress set. And again, those models are hard to get or rare because you have to buy basically a big old box set to get these 14 guys, 7 original sculpts. So now you'll be able to expand that range and pick these guys up, around the same price or probably cheaper. So very, very nice set. Definitely loving this. You guys let me know what you think down below. This is super exciting. There's a bunch more reveals and there will be videos on them as well. But in my opinion, this was the most exciting. Definitely was expecting Space Marines, was expecting the terrain, but was not expecting the Traitor Guard, and that is an awesome surprise. The last thing I would have ever expected is these two beefy boys, and I'm glad they showed up. So let me know what you think down below. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the type of reactions, reviews, news, painting, modeling, magnetization, tutorials, pretty much anything to do with Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, warcry, Horus Heresy, some Underworld, some D&D, anything to do with tabletop wargaming or RPGs. I'm into it. So that's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.